All right, Shalom. First, I want to give all praises, honor, and glory to Yahweh, Ba'ashem Yahushai, Ba'ashem Rachakodash, double honors to the apostles of Great Millstone, and peace and blessings to the elect. Back at you with another article. All right, this time is, more and more building up on this tension between the U.S. and Russia, which is really like an arms race going on now. Okay, and Slovakia. As you can see in the title here, it says top U.S. general in Europe cries Russian threat to get more troops, planes, and ships. Okay? It says citing the phantom menace of Russian aggression amid Washington's withdrawal from the INF Treaty, the head of the U.S. European Command has asked the Senate for more troops, jets, missiles, and ships to defend European allies. Testifying before the Senate Armed Services on Tuesday, General Curtis Scaparrotti argued that the U.S. maintains global military superiority, but cited evolving Russian capabilities as a threat to that dominance, challenging the U.S. ability to operate uncontested in all domains. Okay, and really that's once again going back to the pride of Esau. Okay, but this is showing you, man, that these the nuclear arsenal, all right, is building up, man. Okay, these nations are in war mode. When you ask for more troops, jets, missiles, and ships, okay, to quote unquote defend European allies, then that means you see, like they said, Russia as a threat. You know, because Russia hasn't shot any missiles yet. Okay, but all these things are in preparation for something, and that thing is that third world war. They're not just doing. Look, man, you don't, because this costs money, and the article is going to go into that. It's not cheap to get more troops, jets, missiles, so on and so forth. And with the U.S. and how much debt that it is already, okay, they're not going to waste money on weapons or military equipment that they don't need. All right, this third world war is going to happen, man, and you're seeing it unfold before your eyes. You're seeing the steps leading up to it. Okay, and as more and more information is coming out, the tensions are getting more and more intense. You have more information coming out about the microchip. All right, we're getting closer and closer to that time of Jacob's trouble, that time of the civil war, race war, class war, famines, pestilence. Okay, martial law, mass death and destruction, as is prophesied in the scriptures. Okay, a time like never before, pursuant to Jeremiah 30, verse 7. Okay, that is the time we are headed into. So it says, and the scriptures say, when they shall say peace and safety, then sudden destruction cometh upon them. And right now, a lot of people are in that peace and safety mindset. Here it is, the president declared a national emergency, but nobody's in a sense of urgency. Everybody's just walking around like everything is all good, you know? And people don't even stop to think things are very quiet, almost too quiet, you know? Nope, they don't see it at all. They're blind. Okay? It says, testifying before the Senate uh, Armed Services Committee on Tuesday, General Curtis Scaparrotti argued that the U.S. Oh, I think I read this already. Yeah, continuing, it says, but cited evolving Russian capabilities as a threat to that dominance, challenging the U.S. ability to operate uncontested in all domains. It says Scaparrotti, who as the head of the EU is also the supreme NATO commander in Europe, claimed without evidence that the Russian military posture is increasingly aggressive and sought aid from Congress to bolster EUCOM's assigned and rational rotational forces. Okay, and like the scriptures say, the Lord said He's going to put hooks, all right, into the jaws of Gog and Magog, which is Russia. All right, and that hook is metaphorical, referring to stirring up that spirit within them, putting that evil thought in these Russians' minds, all right, and ultimately making them shoot missiles on America. Okay, because you gotta understand the Most High is playing both sides. He's controlling both sides. Okay, says General. Scaparrotti, head of U.S. European Command, says he asked for two more destroyers to be deployed and needs even more. Given the Navy's issue with deploying destroyers and China seems unlikely. Oh, and China, this seems unlikely. It says Scaparrotti also asked for more armor, more bombers, more troops, and more cyber capabilities slash staff. Usual requests from a combatant commander. In addition to more troops, ships, spies, and everything but the kitchen sink, Scaparrotti revealed that EUCOM has requested two more destroyers from the U.S. Navy and maybe also an aircraft carrier in order to counter what he said were the expanding capabilities of the Russian fleet. The U.S. currently has four destroyers stationed in Rota, Spain. One of them, the USS Donald Cook, recently ventured into the Black Sea to promote stability by posing as a live target for Russian coastal defense missiles. Washington needs to upgrade its naval capabilities in order to remain dominant in the maritime domain and particularly undersea, Scaparrotti told senators. Yeah, because they're seeing that, like the scriptures say, let the weak say I'm strong, because of advancement in weaponized technology. It doesn't take the U.S. is not the only superpower in the world. Okay, you have a lot of these other nations that have their hands are on nuclear technology, nuclear weapons. Okay, so they can do damage as well. And that's why the U.S. fears Russia so much because that's competition. They know they can't just go around doing whatever they want. Because if they do something, they're gonna what I'm saying, they're gonna eat some missiles back. So it says, and Russia's already warned the U.S. It says Scaparotti's gloom and doom pronouncements are par for the course. However, he sang the same tune last year. The U.S. has been bolstering its troop presence in Europe since 2015, using allegations of Russian aggression in Ukraine as pretext. Just last month, the 1st Cavalry and 1st Infantry Division were sent to Eastern Europe as part of the ongoing effort dubbed Atlantic Resolve. Not surprisingly, the general's shopping list comes ahead of the proposed 2020 U.S. military budget, which is expected to be announced next week and is rumored to be in the range of $750 billion, up from $716 billion allocated for 2019. Meanwhile, Russia has been gradually reducing military spending to devote more funds to infrastructure, education, and social programs. Yeah, but the U.S., would they do that? Hell to the no. All right, your education programs are teaching your kids lies. You know what I'm saying? Talking about slaves weren't even slaves; they were just workers. And they weren't even forget being kidnapped. They went through something called forced migration. Oh yeah, you know that's what your education system in America is teaching your kids. Okay, here it is in the UK. They're talking about having mandatory gay and transgender classes that it's illegal for you to opt out of. So yeah, that's the education they're giving your kids, and instead of actually giving the children a good, real, valid education, nah, they spend the money on military budgets, you know. But it's all like I said, man. It's all leading, or like as is written in the scriptures, it's all leading to that prophecy of that Third World War. It says with the U.S. national debt exceeding $22 trillion, however, the Pentagon is looking to save a few pennies here and there, so it is unclear how much Scaparrotti may eventually get. Last month, and they don't really care, man. This economy is on its last legs anyway. You know. Last month, a report emerged that the Navy was considering retiring the aircraft carrier USS Harry Truman in 2024, decades ahead of its expected end of life, in order to divert money into the new Ford class supercarrier project. It was the Truman that ventured north of the Arctic Circle in October last year as part of massive NATO war games on Russia's doorstep, the first U.S. carrier to do so since the Cold War. On the actually alarming subject of the Intermediate Range Nuclear Forces INF treaty expiring in less than 6 months, Scaparrotti had little to say. Asked how EUCOM was preparing for the end of the INF, the general told senators that the U.S. informed NATO allies that plans would be made in cooperation with them. So I don't know that we have a plan today, he said. I know that we are working on what we think the plan might be. Man, they don't got no plan, man. They do not have any plan. It says the US President Donald Trump has repeatedly complained that only a handful of NATO members were spending the agreed upon 2% of their GDP on the military. Alarmed that the president might take the U.S. out of NATO, the Democrats have spearheaded an effort in the U.S. Congress to pass a bill in January banning such a move, but also demanding NATO allies to boost their military spending. And according to the scriptures, NATO is going to turn on the U.S., man. The U.S.'s allies, they're all going to turn on the U.S. and they're going to shoot missiles on the U.S. also. Okay, that is the prophecy, the fate of America, all right, to be completely destroyed in this Third World War, all right, not only by the missiles, but by the hands of the Lord, okay, by way of the laser beams coming from his chariots, okay, which the world calls so-called UFOs, all right, but, this is just a quick update. Lord willing, it was edifying unto the elect. I want to give all praises to Yahweh Bashem Yahweh Shai and Shalom.